In today's assembly, we are celebrating International Women's Day. I'm going to hand over to FemBookSoc, Putney's Feminist Society, to tell you about why this day should be important to women and men across the world.
So International Women's Day celebrates the cultural, social and political achievements of women across the globe. It also helps us to reflect on what we still have to achieve. But where are the origins of International Women's Day? Its origins can be found in the European socialist movements of the early 20th century, as illustrated by the timeline on the board. The first European celebration of International Women's Day took place in Vienna in 1911. Women marched through the city, carrying red banners and demanding voting rights. For many decades, International Women's Day was a holiday that was only celebrated in socialist countries. With the advent of the second wave feminist movement in the late 1960s, however, the holiday began to be recognised across the world as a way to draw attention to women's rights. So the UN officially began celebrating International Women's Day in 1975, the year in which Valentina Tereshkova became the first woman to travel to space. It's been celebrated on the 8th of March ever since, and it's marked by events and demonstrations that take place all across the world.
But why bother having an International Women's Day? Come to think of it, why do we still need to be banging on about so-called feminist issues at all? We have an Equal Pay Act and universal suffrage. There are even laws to protect us against discrimination. What more do we want?
There may be laws in place which we should celebrate, and women's movements have achieved a lot over the years. That doesn't mean sexism isn't an issue that women here and in other parts of the world have to deal with on a daily basis.
But we even have a law against upskirting now. What else could you possibly want?
That law only came about last year because of feminists who campaigned tirelessly to draw attention to the upskirting issue.
That's only one small issue that applies to a few people. What else do you have to complain about?
Let's take the gender pay gap as an example, something that affects all working women. The reasons for this gap are complex, but we must draw attention to this issue and find real solutions to it. It's everyone's problem.
Okay, fair enough, but doesn't the pay gap just exist because women choose lower paying jobs? It's all about the choice.
That's not true. Women almost always earn less for the same work, and they often lose out financially by taking time off to have children. It's society's responsibility to ensure all women, like men, can continue to participate fully in the workplace when they have children. Did you know that female dentists, for example, earn 35% less on average per hour than their male counterparts? Google it to find out why.
Okay, maybe that's true, but girls and boys have the same educational opportunities in this country, right? Girls even do better in their GCSEs and A-levels.
That may be true, but there are barriers to education that only girls experience, particularly girls from poor backgrounds. For example, period poverty is a big problem on our doorstep in the UK. 1 in 10 girls who miss school because of their period said it was a direct result of being unable to afford or access sanitary products. So whilst we should celebrate all that we've achieved so far, we should remember to keep the fires in our hearts sparked, and not let those who believe it is time for us to sit back down get to us. The power of feminists is very, very real and strong, and we have to stick together in order to fight for and win equality.
Not only do we have battles to be won, but we need to actively protect the rights and freedoms that the women before us have won through huge effort and sacrifice. There are some examples where our rights are under threat, places where we may have assumed that some rights are secure. In the USA, the government was weakened existing laws that protect the victims of domestic abuse and sexual assault. Domestic abuse and sexual assault now only include the most severe forms of physical abuse. Psychological abuse, coercive control, and manipulation are no longer considered domestic violence. When these warning signs are ignored, women are left unprotected from potential life-threatening situations. More than half of women murdered each year in the US are killed by a partner. The US government has also cut funding for contraception services and safe abortions in developing countries. This reduces women's ability to control their own futures. Far from reducing abortion rates, it forces it underground so that many more women die or suffer devastating complications from illegal abortions. In the UK, the government's policy of austerity has had disproportionate effects on women. Austerity aims to save government money by reducing public spending, such as on benefits for single-parent families and low-income workers. the vast majority of whom are women. In 2017, a study found that 86% of the burden of austerity since 2010 has fallen on women. In total, it was estimated that the cuts have cost women a total of $79 billion since 2010, compared to $13 billion for men. This policy is threatening the economic advancement of women in this country, particularly the poorest.
Sexism is an international issue, a fact which we all tend to forget. We must make an effort to remember that there is no them in us, there is only us. The three countries which I am going to talk about are all very different, and yet the day-to-day sexism women experience is shared by all. Recently, there have been two stories that have come out of the Western Indian state of Gujarat. In February, 68 college students living in a hostel complained that they were made to strip and show their underwear to female teachers in order to prove that they were not menstruating. According to the hostel official, the young women broke rules menstruating women are supposed to follow, such as keeping themselves separate from others and not going near the temple. The students described this invasive experience as very painful and leaving them traumatized. Later that month, trainee government clerks complained that they were checked for pregnancy. The incident took place at a government-run hospital in the city of Surat during physical tests which are mandatory for anyone who wants to continue working after their 3-year probation. Allegedly, the women were forced to stand naked in groups of 10 while finger tests were conducted by female doctors. Furthermore, the room's door was not fully closed and a mere curtain was the only thing blocking the view from outside. Only last year has the public order law in Sudan been repealed, which restricted how women acted and dressed in public. This public order law gave the authorities the power to control what women wore, whom they spoke to and saw, and any job that they might hold. Any perceived offender could face punishment by flogging, stoning, and even execution. The laws were left deliberately ambiguous, which essentially allowed police and judges to apply them however they wished. In April 2019, the former president, Omar al-Bashir, who had introduced these policies, was overthrown by peaceful protesters. His regime was incredibly restricting for women. The repeal was brought about by the country's transitional authorities responding to a female-driven protest against Bashir's former policies. 1 in 2 Canadian women have experienced sexual harassment at work, according to a 2018 survey. 89% say that they use strategies to avoid unwanted sexual advances in the workplace. However, in a recent survey of Canadian executives, 95% of whom were male, 94 reported that sexual harassment was not a problem at their companies. Among Canada's top 100 companies by revenue, just 4 are run by women, and only 3 of the top 100 firms have achieved gender parity on all their boards.
So, as you can see, feminism very much needs us, now more than ever. We have to act. In the words of Deborah Frances White, feminism can't exist in principle. It needs the oxygen of action. We are its life force. If not us, who? If not now, when? Such an inspiring quote often leads people to wonder, what should I do? How they should be a good feminist. So to help with this, I've compiled a list of 5 steps that you should take to become a good feminist. Step 1, abandon the idea of a good feminist. We don't need a few people doing feminism perfectly. We need lots of people doing feminism imperfectly. Roxane Gay says, I embrace the label of bad feminist because I am human. I am messy. I'm not trying to be an example. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm not trying to say I have all the answers. I'm not trying to say I'm right. I'm just trying to support what I believe in, trying to do some good in this world. So embrace it. Embrace that your feminism is probably not perfect, and do it anyway. That's fine, as long as, 2, you educate yourself, constantly, in as many ways as you can. Read books, watch the news, read cartoons, listen to podcasts, talk to people, read more, talk to more people, read even more. Don't stop. Constantly seek to become a better feminist. Learn about angles that you weren't aware of. Become an expert. Arm yourself with information. Step 3, Make tiny changes. Start with yourself, your internal prejudices. Perhaps you have some internalized misogyny that you need to work through. Is your feminism always intersectional? Challenge yourself. Then move slightly outwards. Examine your home environment. Could it be more equal? If you have brothers, are there things that they can do that you can't, and vice versa? Are there things that you can wear that they can't, and vice versa? Question things, challenge things, and start to open up conversations if you can. You could then move even further outwards. You could look at your friends, your school, your hobbies. Are these environments always equal? Do the people around you embody the values that we're talking about today? Talk to them. Learn about other views. Observe any injustices in place and start to talk about them. It is by making these small changes that we start to create huge tides of change. Step 4. Support other feminists. Club together. Amplify their voices. If you possess any other privileges, perhaps to do with your race, class, non-disability, education, etc., use them to boost those who do not. Spread the message together. As it says, each time a woman stands up for herself, without knowing it possibly, without claiming it, she stands up for all women. And finally, step 5, come to FemBookSoc. Mondays, lunch 2, seminar room 8, open to anyone in years 10 to 13.
Yeah, a huge thank you to all of these fantastic students who've prepared the presentation today. As Flo said, FemBookSoc takes place every Monday lunch 2 in SR8. Our current programme includes guest speakers from across the school. This Monday, Mr. Coulson will be facilitating a discussion on feminism as a political ideology. So enjoy International Women's Day on Sunday, go home and start the conversation.